Hello, this is Jason at Primal Engineering. I'm going to show you a few ways you can modify the materials and the configuration of the Gobbit and similar robot chassis where they're made of expanded PVC and rigid PVC. So this is our Gobbit here. This is the basic chassis. I'm going to pull off the top plate, which is expanded PVC. And I'm going to make a few modifications to this. Some are just configuration, and some will be actual cutting and gluing and that type of thing. I've decided I want to put a different battery pack in this. It comes with a 4-cell AA with a switch on it. I want to give it more power because I'm going to be using additional servos, or say I want to put a lot of sensors on there, something that's going to draw a lot of power, or maybe I just need a little bit more speed. So going to set the old battery pack aside. I got Velcro on them. I put some Velcro on. This is a 6-pack. Throw this guy down in there. And now that I have this and it fits inside the cavity a little better, I want it to look a little cleaner. I'm going to take a different pack in panel, and I'm going to put that on there. I put the in panel that has a cutout on top so I can get my wiring through to get up to my, depending on where I want to put all my components up top. Now let's say I need an indicator light on the front here. So I want a different panel, just because I don't need this large panel. I'm going to slim it down a little bit since I'm adding some weight back here with this panel. I'm going to lighten it up a little in the front, put a smaller panel. I've marked a hole on here. I want to put just a single LED, a 5mm LED. I want to have it come out of there. So I'm going to mark, put a center mark on my crosshair. I'm just going to take my scribe and push it in lightly, just a little bit. Give myself a start for a drill. I got a 3/16 drill bit. Drill's really easy. You don't want to sit and go too slow. You will melt it if you sit for a long time. That's the same as if you're drilling a piece of wood. If you go too slow, a lot of speed, you burn the wood. Here you get it hot. When you do that, you'd melt it. So it doesn't take much. You'd have to be trying to be going that slow with drilling anyway. But anyway, we have a 5mm and a 3/16 hole. Push it in. It's a nice snug fit. And that's another thing, if you over drill it, then it'll be loose. But just as an example, it fits in there. If I want to back it up, make it a little stouter, maybe I put some hot glue behind it. But there's my panel with an indicator light. Put that back on. I have a little indicator. I want it to blink, or who knows what I want it to do at this point. Just giving you a couple ideas here of how you can modify it and how simple it can be. So there's that part. I'm going to set this aside. I want to add a servo to the top. I'm going to put it right in the middle of this back section. I've already marked it out just so we can keep moving along here. So I'm just going to drill a few holes in the corners, and this is how, whatever technique you're used to with the way that you work with wood, basically. Okay. Now I'm going to use a coping saw with a fairly coarse. It's like 18 TPI, 18 teeth per inch blade on there. I'm going to loosen it up, and this is one of my saws of choice. I can do detail work with it. It's comfortable to use, and I can do what I'm doing right here. I'm putting it inside of the cutout through just a hole. So you could use a jigsaw, you could use a coping, like any kind of push or pull blade. Okay, I'm just gonna cut this guy out. Again, I don't want to melt it by sitting in one place and just sawing really slow back and forth. Yeah, same as the case it goes for wood. You'll burn the wood. So pretty simple. Just a straight cut there. Doesn't take much effort. Just about it there. I think I'll clean up the rest with a file. I could finish it off with the blade, but I have a file, and so I'd rather use it because it's that little final touch. It's the right tool for the job. So you can also use miter saws, table saws, band saws, all that good stuff. I'm showing the basics here. If you don't have very many tools, you can also use razor blades. You gotta be careful with that, but you can carve this out. Lots you can do with it. Again, it's just like wood. I know a lot of you probably wouldn't even care to do this much. Just kind of throw it together. I'm a ex-finished carpenter. I like clean work. So if nobody else sees it, I will. Okay. Let's see if our servo fits. It's a little snug. And looks like I got a little bit in the corner. There we go. So now it fit in nicely. A little sawdust. And I'm just going to take a couple of these small number 2 1/4-inch pan head sheet metal screws and drive those guys in. Didn't even do a pilot for it. I'm just running them right in. Feels good. It looks like I might have cut my slot a little bit too big for my cable on the other side. I might have it looks like it's just gonna bite in. Just lucked out. Okay. I'd made room for the cable to pull through, and I cut that a little bit strong. I over drilled it a little bit, but for this it'll be okay. So, so now I got a servo on top. Simple enough modification, nice and clean. Well, how about throw this back on here. Now that I have a battery pack that I changed out, that battery pack doesn't have a switch on it. It was nice with the little 4-pack. You could turn the unit on and off. Now we don't have a switch. I'm going to add a switch. In this case, some of these wire routing holes happen to fit a simple little toggle switch. Oh, not so little, it's got a large paddle on it. I want to be able to flip it easily. But it could be a slide or a rocker. But this is a panel mount, so it's got 2 holes in it. So again, I'm just going to hold it in place. Make sure you guys can see that. I'm just going to hold it in place and push the screw in. So I'm not even making a tick mark or a center mark for it. They drive in easy enough, yet hold really well. And you see I'm just using a jeweler screwdriver. There we go. I got a toggle switch so I can run the wiring from the battery pack to the switch, and then from the switch I come around and, well, in this case I'm going to move the Arduino over here now. There are some pre-configured holes over here for the Arduino Uno, or clone in this case. It would sit here, but I'm putting a servo here. So this switch is showing it as an example. In reality, if I'm using this servo here, the switch might be in my way, maybe not, depends on what I'm doing with it. If it's just a pan and tilt, it's probably not in my way. But in any case, so say whatever I have going on over here, I need some extra room. The Arduino isn't going to work in where I supplied the hole. So let's put it over here. We'll have tons of room. We have easy wire routing to get to underneath. Still accessible to the USB and power. And if we put the let's just go ahead and let's shoot that down there. So same thing with this, since it's a circuit board, I'm going to be a little more careful. I'm not going to just run the screw in case I happen to slip with it. I don't want to stab the board and puncture something important. So I'm just going to take my scribe and I'm going to make it just a little start point. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny little start point. That's all it is. Just so the screw has something to center on when it's turning. And just to make sure that I don't flop around too much. I'm just getting this guy where it looks good. Obviously, if I had a specific application right now, I'd be a little more critical of my placement. I got that one screw snugged up. I'm just going around making a few marks. Just pushing it just a little bit. Doesn't take much at all. This is an expanded foam. It's PVC foam, but it's not, it's not like a foam core. It's not a white bead foam. It's not that kind of consistency. It's kind of it's soft yet rigid. It's all at the same time. Chewy yet crisp. It's really hard to really describe it without using it. In case, well, there it is. I just repositioned this, cut new holes, put a switch in, change out the battery pack, put in a LED indicator. So all that. Let me show you a few more things with this material that you can do. So there's some modifications to the Gobbit. Let me show you some things you can do with the material. In addition, this is a PVC fitting. This is just a section of the expanded PVC. These are glued together. You can glue the two. So you go to the hardware store, you pick up your fittings. You want to make extensions. You want to make some sort of center post to come up to a camera. Well, there you go. This guy here is a piece of, this is 3mm thick. This just heated up with a heat gun and wrapped it around another piece of pipe and let it cool. So I thermoformed whether I needed a clip or whatever this is. It's just, it can be formed. You don't want to over heat it. If you get it too hot, you will start getting more obnoxious fumes. So it's best, just in case, it's best to be in a ventilated environment when you do work with this material. All in all, it's pretty safe, but too much of anything isn't really good for you. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to use this in the other direction. It's just drywall screws. So I'm going to run this down into this material. And it countersinks right in there. Didn't try and split out. It just countersunk down into there. We'll try sending it the other way. Try screwing into it. Just trying to show you. Now I don't want to go, I can't, with this plastic and with these screws, I couldn't tighten enough to like pull those screws countersunk into the wood. The plastic will strip out, or but it's on there. It's I will possibly break it by the time I get this to come off, which that takes quite a bit. It's really on there well. So that gives you an idea. But if I all right. Just some fun with PVC and fun with the Gobbit. You guys have fun making some interesting projects, and let us know what you come up with, and thank you very much.